Walking Dead. Previously on The Walking Dead. It's a good game. First time I played it was on the PS3. I played Season 2. This is kind of throughout time. And then, Season 3? I don't know. It started, they kind of did a Dead Rising thing where it got weird. It was like Dead Rising 2 and then Off the Record, but it's the same game but different. But instead of saying Season 3, I think it was just Final Frontier or something. I don't know. And then the final season, I didn't finish that because I got stuck on a combat part, which is really dumb. There's like these zombies that are attacking me and they're trying to put combat in a visual novel, graphic novel, point and clicker. I don't even know. It just doesn't work. I appreciate the effort. And in all the games, I've gotten through them just fine. It's the final season. I don't know. I tried to even go back and I couldn't do it. I don't understand. And then Michonne, I did that too. There's almost too much. Honestly, like, if they just left it off at season 1, that would have been just fine. I know they're trying to make it like their flagship series, but yeah. And they did that with 1. They already struck gold. I don't know why they kept digging. Like, it was cool to see the story continue, and sequels are usually supposed to be a good thing. It wasn't all bad, but when you compare it to season 1, it's just, I know that's kind of typical, but it's so similar to The Last of Us. I think they even came out around the same-ish time, or that generation at least, and thankfully The Last of Us didn't milk it too much. I like part 2 of The Last of Us. But this time they kind of... like, it was cool to see... it was cool, like, Clem, you know, doing her thing. The Michonne was just a complete spin-off, side thing, but it was cool. It was interesting that they chose Michonne. I guess she's like the fan favorite, which is understandable. One of the fan favorites. I'm surprised they didn't do like a Daryl thing, to be honest. Maybe that would have been too obvious. But the thing is, like, the rest of them, I don't know, that's just more or less of the same thing, really. You, like, it's tough because when you play this, you want to see it through, you want to play the rest of it, you can't just stop at season 1, but... Lee. And I know that was part of the gripe of part 2 of The Last of Us, was Joel, and... they're really pulling that dad string, huh? Like, coming back to season 1 was just so... and this is after watching all the spin-off shows. You know, Daryl Dixon, Dead City, or whatever it's called, and the Walking Dead Chronicles, whatever that was, the anthology, Fear the Walking Dead, all of the Walking Dead, freaking... God, what's the one with Rick and Michonne, that side spin-off show, whatever. Seeing all that, playing the Walking Dead Destinies, or at least part of it. I didn't even finish that. I got stuck at a part. a sneaking section or something. I even recently tried out the Walking Dead Bridge Constructor game, and I played that for like an hour or two. After all that, coming back to season 1, it was just so... I don't know. It wasn't even that long ago that I was playing the final season, and then like they were spaced out in between. But I only played those really in probably the last... not that long ago. But season 1 just hits so different. It's the introduction, it's how it all started, it's... Man. It's like watching The Walking Dead for the first time again. Like the show. Holy. It was a mixed feeling though. It was like part nostalgia, part like these Telltale games have kind of aged a bit, and they're kind of, oh man, they're so janky and old and dated, and I was just bothered, like, because I've played each... The issue I have recently was I replayed season 1. I should have just... But, like, these aren't as bad when you play them one time. You did whatever choices you did, you know what's gonna happen. Like, all of them, replaying it just was like, dude, I already know what's gonna happen. I remember most of it. I probably made the exact same decisions as I did the first time. Yeah, I don't know. And especially, not only all the Walking Dead, like everything that's kind of on this timeline that I'm on. But even after playing the Batman Telltale games recently, Wolf Among Us a while ago, still haven't played Jurassic Park or Game of Thrones. I don't think that's even ever gonna happen. But playing all these Telltale games, I'm like, holy crap, dude. They're so good, but they're so bad. Especially on console, because, like, I don't know how it'd be like on mouse and keyboard on PC, but the genre is point and clicker, and when you're trying to, like, click stuff and very fast react, it could be so easy to die. You're kind of looking all around the screen. You got to deal with the default cursor speed. There's no cursor speed change from what I saw. Playing any point and clicker is just not good on console. And it's weird because you could totally see this being a console friendly game just because it's like, okay, some QTEs, which are probably usually better done on controllers anyway. And then just, you know, making some dialogue choices, X, Y, or fucking X, triangle, whatever. And you're just kind of sitting back watching most of the time anyway, or at least half the time. But especially with the combat sections, when they're trying, it's manageable, but just barely. Like, I can guarantee if I played this on just the pointing and clicking alone, apart from the other elements that make up the game, probably just would have been a much better experience. It gets to a point where you just kind of deal with it, because you're like, well, I have this on this port, and I just, well, it's whatever, you're not thinking too hard about it. Because you don't look at it like an RTS or an MMO or a top-down or like a more PC-friendlier game versus just like anything else basically, which is just fine on console. But then this is like a weird middle ground where they're trying to do so much. They're like, oh, you can free roam, you can click on this, and it's just constant like nonsense. You know, when you're trying to get the most out of the game, you're trying to milk every single little thing and look at everything, and you don't want to trigger moving forward too quickly before you do everything else that you can, because that's content. There's only so much of it, and I don't know. it was a trip. It's something I really had to kind of bear through and push through, and which is unfortunate because it's one of many games where you remember it being so good and all these things, but then you come back to it and it's not the story that's the issue, it's the gameplay. It's atrocious. Yeah, the cutscenes are good.
I'm outside of my treehouse. They can't get in.
That's smart.
See? Can you see me? I can see you through the window.
Yeah, it's one of those games where I'd rather just watch it than play it. Like, watch someone else play it, because holy. It just drags on, like it's... I don't know, if I had the same conversation 10 years ago, it'd be kind of a different story, but... That's the thing, I think back then, you would have been more... Not to mention, I wasn't really... I was playing a lot less games back then too, and the only few games I played I enjoyed. No clothes on, well, some clothes on. You know, dark lights, just you and your game, nothing else, privacy, immersion. I don't really get that nowadays, so... But even still, it's just a... I can see why the games died down, because it's just, I don't think it was something that was meant to just continue. The fact that they crapped out so many other games is beyond me, but... I don't know, Telltale kind of paved the way for the Dark Anthology and this and that, blah blah blah. Like, it was cool back then, it was just as cool as The Walking Dead was, or Lost, or like all these old kind of legendary, iconic kind of things really went down in history, but I think today it's just kind of... And I know there's people that are playing it for the first time today, and... Man, I don't know, dude. And even that said, with the gameplay side of it, the story... It... God... I don't know how I got through all this. It's... I impress myself. I even amaze myself sometimes. But like, holy crap, the drama. Something, seeing it on film, like, the show, like, okay, they're yapping, blah blah blah, this and that. It is a drama. It's not... And especially being a show, shows are really good at just kind of milking it and dragging along and... You know, talking. This is why I like movies more. And it's funny how close this was trying to get to the show, but still be its original thing. With the episodes and the credits and whatever. But it's just not, like, up to modern standards. I think that's the only real issue. And it's weird because I heard they're making, like, a superhero game too or something. Or they're at least associated with it or something. And on top of all that, I just really don't like cel-shaded stuff. This comic book style. Like in Hogwarts, the one part I didn't like was the whole black and white sketch part level. I still got Hellboy to play, but that's gonna be like a comic book style. It's just, it just doesn't work. I don't like the Spider-Verse movies with the comic book style. Just, you know, they're trying to blend two very different visuals, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't mix well. And I realize, like, this is based off the comic book, The Walking Dead, I get it. But did they have to be so literal with it? My issue with these Telltale games is it's like lazy. It's like, hey, the animation's still there. it reminds me of, I was trying to watch some J-horror stuff last night, but it was like paper mache animation. Like, even South Park bugged me for the longest time because of that style of animation. It just is so off-putting, and like, not to mention if the voice lines, especially depending on what you click on, it could be so awkward. And man, it was just stacking. Like, everything about this game just kept bugging me. Aside from all that, it's still good. I love Clementine, I love her voice actor, I love Lee, I love his voice. I love all the side characters. You really come a long way from start to finish. You've been through a lot. You kind of slightly chose how it all went, even though it's basically all scripted anyway, for the most part. It's just the illusion of choice. And especially playing this during Spoopy Month, it's like, it definitely fits that horror vibe in that category and genre, but oh, there's some blood and zombies. But it's kind of like The Last of Us, where it's just, they focus too much on the human stuff, you know? It's like any monster movie, you just want to see the monsters. And it's considered filler. I like filler. But I don't know, I'd rather watch the show. You get the AMC filter, you get the really calm, cozy, soothing, comfortable talking, and just them just living their life and bonding and friendships, and sure there's fights here and there and arguing and debates and pretty much everything. It's just life. It's dramatic. And on top of that, you get some zombies to little cherry on top. Great. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. But this game, it's like, man. And that's what I was disappointed with the Walking Dead Destinies too, because this was like the closest to like the actual likeness of the characters we like, not these random OG Telltales people or whatever. Just give me Rick, give me Coral, give me Michonne, give me Daryl, give me Carol for that matter, give me Maggie. I mean, weirdly enough, there's Glenn, which he's like the guy. And obviously I can kind of relate to Glenn more, but like, who doesn't like Glenn? They try to say Jesus is like the fan favorite. I'd say Glenn is definitely more. I mean, he's the boss. So I don't know, man, it's a list of all kinds of, it's so hard though, because it's like, well, does the pros outweigh the cons? It's literally 50-50, because there's so much bad, but what good is there is so good that you can't help but to kind of average it out. But that's part of the issue too, is it's such an average game, because it's like you want more, you expect more, but it's just not quite there, and you want it to be something else, but it's not. It's good for what it is. I accept it 100%, but you know, and it's a license thing, and you can only ask for so much, and usually those games always turn out to be so meh. But just give me The Walking Dead, but just like good graphics and a good budget, and not game mill games like Destinies, and make it actually good, and like, it could be done so easily. I don't understand the issue. That's the tough thing about being a fan of anything. This is why I don't really favor anything, or I'm too biased towards anything, because it's just all kind of wishy-washy. Ah, man, the creative decisions some of these companies make, the industry, whether it's movies or TV or games, it just blows my mind. Gameplay's good. Yeah. I don't know. I got each season individually. It's so weird. I can understand selling each season because they are kind of their own standalone games. But I find it even weirder. I'm pretty sure you can even buy purchase the episodes separately as well. Which is like, that's messy, dude. And especially when these games come out, I'm pretty sure they release them by episode, which is just like, come on. It's like, just give us the whole thing, Christ, dude. It's one of those unfortunate binge-worthy type things. It's like the equivalent of watching a B movie. It's like you can't help but like it, but it's just so bad. It's kind of the easiest way to summarize this whole franchise. Hell, this whole studio as a whole, like everything that they do is just... At least with Batman, it was like clean and smooth and simple and basic and easy, and The Walking Dead was trying to do so much. It's the one game where they kind of were a little more ambitious, which is fine, but sometimes that can backfire. Cyberpunk. Yeah, I don't know. The game's charming. It's like, it has its own charm, its own flavor, its own style, and you gotta... Well, I think back then, that was probably a little easier to do. As time goes on, obviously, it's harder to really... So many games are so related now. Even if it's just aesthetically. You have all these, like, you know, Souls likes, RE likes, yada yada. What's cool about this series though is it's so weird because these are like the Telltales are like the guys, dude. And it's funny because you think of the Dark Anthology, Man of Medan, House of Ashes, The Devil in Me or whatever it was called, and Little Hope, and then you got the Quarry and Until Dawn. Those are so much easier on the eyes, and it's just, they look graphically so much better and pleasing, but it is the exact same game. But at least I'd rather just go back and play those, to be honest, because holy cow. But it's funny because even those have issues where they're kind of uncanny and just they're almost too graphically upscaled and all these things where it just, with that kind of style of game, it doesn't really work that great. So it's almost like you don't win either way. You got this stuff and then you got the anthology stuff, two very different sides of the spectrum. And for some reason, they just can't find a nice middle ground, a nice balance where they can just... Okay, you don't have to go this whole cel-shaded thing, man. That's... ugh. Like, this is the only cel-shaded game I think I've ever played. I won't even touch, like, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, pretty much any Nintendo game for that matter, and... Oh, that's rough, man. I mean, with anime, you get that a little bit, but it's an exception. Anime games. I just can't take it seriously. I'm like looking at it like just... It just looks all droopy and washy and muddy and messy, and it's not exactly eye-pleasing, eye candy. But aside from all the like details and I like that Clementine was also in The Wolf Among Us, like they carried her over, her voice. I need to look up more about her. Like, what does she look like? I want to see what other stuff she's done, or just hear her talk normally. Like, her. As much as I love Lee, the guy you're playing as, really nice guy, super chill. You know, it's like dad of the year type thing. He's literally Joel. He's cell shaded Joel. But where Clementine is, Ellie is. And you can't help but to not like Ellie, and it's the same thing with Clem. Clementine. But man, if it wasn't for her, dude, the game would just be bleh. Like, literally the only two good things about this game is Lee and Clem. Like, I know everyone's picky about, like, oh, I like single player stuff, and multiplayer, PvP, PvE, top... Every way you can pretty much pick apart a video game. But me, I like the characters, I like the people, the... It's like every game I play, I don't give a shit. The story could be good or bad, whatever. That's just written randomness, you know, but the characters, I mean, the people you can get to know and bond with, and you can understand them and know who they are and what they're like and their personality and what they don't like, and you know, are they a good person, are they bad, all these things. That's the things I can relate to the most. I think that's always going to be at its core. If there wasn't people, there would be nothing. It'd just be blank. You could even put a story in there, dude, a silent film, a visual novel with no voice acting, and that's exactly what that would be. It's the characters themselves, that's the key right there. But I think that's so obvious and so right in people's faces, and the reality of it and the realistic side, that they don't even, like, it doesn't even faze them, or they always know that they're there, and it's very apparent. Like, you know, you get into it, you get involved, you're like, oh, Lee this, Lee that. But I think it's so easy to play as somebody, especially Lee, even if Clementine is kind of the side character, at least in the first season. But then you're just focused on all these other things that really don't matter, and I don't know. There's a side where, like, you want to focus on the people, but there is all these other things that kind of make up the entire environment, the setting, the atmosphere, the vibe. So those are just as important, but yeah. And to be fair, in a zombie game, there's really not going to be much of a story, man. It's just surviving. It's literally it. There's no point in even really looking too deep into that. And on top of that, it's just I mean, to me, it is just another video game. It's not like... It's good. It could be worse. There's definitely worse games out there, but it's definitely not the best game either, so... Yeah. Yeah, bless Lee's heart, man. He's a good guy. You don't really get games like this, to be honest, nowadays, to be fair. So, like, I can't give it too much crap, because it's really only things like this in The Last of Us that really make me feel something, like emotion, like sympathy and pity, and pretty much anything you can think of. And not a lot of games really do that for me. I think a lot of games are just, they really try to distract you with, like, a bunch of craziness, and because video games, first and foremost, it's gonna be about the gameplay. everything else is just kind of fitted in to kind of piece it all together and make it work and have it be a whole project and a thing. And but apart from this being like a point and clicker visual novel, whatever the hell it even is, it is just a good game overall, universally in general. So that's really the only main thing to take away from it. It's hard to sit through, but it is good nonetheless. So yeah, The Walking Dead.